Hello everyone, Scott here. I just got out of seeing The Man Who Killed Don Quixote last night. It was 1 in the morning. The Man Who Killed Don Quixote is the Don Quixote movie Terry Gilliam had been trying to make for 25 years. It even opens by saying, now after 25 years of being made and unmade and made again, a Terry Gilliam film. I'd heard about this movie since the late 90s, early 2000s as one of those original cases of a movie that was going through development hell. And we've all heard of those types where you've got things like Superman 5 or whatever a Batman 5 would have been, or Independence Day 2. All these different things and all these different ideas. That never happened. James Cameron's Spider-Man and things like that. Some do get made, because eventually we got Black Panther. It wasn't with Wesley Snipes, but we did get Black Panther. We did get Independence Day Resurgence. But Don Quixote from Terry Gilliam seemed to be the one that would never happen. And that's why I had to go see it in the theater last night. Because I was always fascinated with the idea of the movie. Like, I like Terry Gilliam. I will shock everyone now by saying I haven't seen Brazil, I haven't seen 12 Monkeys, I haven't even seen Time Bandits, but I love The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, and I do like The Holy Grail for Monty Python as well. So I am familiar with his stuff, I like his stuff, it's got this interesting old school charm. Many said this movie doesn't really work because it's out of touch, which makes sense if it's a 25-year production. It's not like the footage was from 25 years ago, this was only filmed about 2 years ago. But what happened is they started filming this in 1990, and the lead actor got hurt within 5 days, hernia, and they tried to film around it, and it fell apart, and they went from there. And then they kept trying to make it on and off from there, including a documentary coming out about it called Lost in La Mancha in 2002. Eventually, they've hired on 5 or 6 different actors to play all the different parts, and they finally got funding and made The Man Who Killed Don Quixote a couple of years ago and released it last night. There's actually showing today as well in Thunder Bay, but it's an April 10th event for US and Canada. It's been released in Spain, I believe, and it's getting released from there, but it's mostly like a limited release to get onto distribution channels later. And even that almost didn't happen because a Portuguese producer was claiming lawsuits saying he had ownership because he funded things, but he didn't actually fund it, and he's a strong-arm tactics guy, and honestly, it's a fascinating story. I do need to see Lost in La Mancha. I look forward to seeing Tilting at Windmills, which I believe is what they're calling the follow-up, which is in the editing process. Part 2 of the making of. It's Lost in La Mancha 2. So I want to see that too. I'm fascinated by all this. As someone who makes movies, and at least is in this part or in the know and likes all that stuff, I gotta know, I gotta see it. So that's fascinating. But how's the movie? Well, I never read Don Quixote, and you don't have to. It's not the story of Don Quixote. What this is a movie about a man who is filming a commercial in the area that he filmed his student film, which got notoriety 10 years prior. The commercial is a Don Quixote thing for an advertising insurance aspect, and the short film was Don Quixote, the man who killed Don Quixote. And he goes back to that village, because it's not working, the film isn't working right. He goes back to that village, finds the old shoemaker who played Don Quixote, who they found a guy who had a cool face. He started to think he was Don Quixote. Well, he finds him, and he thinks he's Don Quixote. He thinks he's actually been around for 500 years or 400 years. Don Quixote's from 1600s. He thinks he's actually that man. It's a fictional character, by the way. He thinks he's him. And the movie is an adventure movie from there, blending reality and insanity, where he doesn't see the director for who he is, he sees him for his squire, Sancho. And you go through that thinking this guy's just nuts, but it becomes so adamant, you're like, well, or is he? No. And then you literally get situation after situation which should not work, which should not exist, because he dreamed something, but then the dream matched what he said, and how could he know that if it wasn't, and you have that aspect. Now, the original movie was dealing with time travel, where the executive film guy goes back in the past. Because he had 25 years to rewrite it, they adapted into like how movies can break you, ironically enough for Terry Gilliam. A little bit autobiographical. So it goes through all that, and you see this director going through all this craziness with this madman who thinks he's really this adventurer. And you see Don Quixote dealing with things like a policeman and his car with the siren saying this mechanical beast is wailing. Like, you get little goofy things like that. They encounter a Russian who the ad company's trying to work with as well, who wants constant entertainment, who has a costume-themed party, so everybody's in period dress. It looks out of place. But then there's 2 security guards looking like Agent Coulson the whole time. It's great. And is he seeing things? Is he believing it? Is he faltering? Is he falling for it? What is going on? No, I'm making it out to be like it's kind of artsy, whatever. It's absolutely not. It is pretty straightforward of an adventure comedy with a bit of drama. And Adam Driver makes this thing work. It was originally Johnny Depp was in the role, and you could see that work, but Adam Driver drives it. He's very grounded in this, and very believable as this man who's just at his wit's end in random middle-of-nowhere Spain trying to make this work. And you can see Jonathan Pryce just amazing as Don Quixote. It's ridiculous how good he is in this part. The other actors, aside from Stellan Skarsgård, I do not know their names. There's Olga Kurylenko as well. She has a smaller part. But the guy who's the Russian executive, he was in Bad Boys 2 as a Russian there. And the girl who plays Dulcemia, I think I pronounced it right, who was actually just the waitress from the short film. She's really good too. They're all good. Everybody's good and believable. The guy who always gives the pep talks is great. The security guy is great. They're all good. And it's funny because, is it a bit out of touch? Yeah, but that's kind of why it works for me. Because they just don't make movies like this. Would it have been... Like, do I enjoy it in and of itself? 100%. Is it fascinating to watch a movie that I didn't think would exist for more than half of my lifetime? 100%. Do these factors go together to make it extra enjoyable? 100%. Do I recommend it to everybody? Absolutely not. If you're interested in movies, go see it. If you like Terry Gilliam, go see it. Or find a way to see it, like I said, with the digital and stuff. If you want a straightforward, but not, adventure, absolutely see it. They never leave you hanging. They never leave you without explanation. So everything gets a payoff. It's not artsy for artsy's sake, just artsy because a guy like Terry Gilliam directed it. He knows what he's doing. I love the fact that I got to see it in the theater. 100%. That is the coolest thing. I saw this movie. I would have just been happy to see it, but I got to go to the theater and watch it. It's awesome. I will leave it with that. Thank you for watching. Do check out GuiltyPleasureCinema.com. Redesign, reconstruction is on the way. My friend Shauna and I are working on that. By that I mean she's giving me ideas and I'm going to implement them. I am also on YouTube.com/CyclopsScott and Twitch.tv/CyclopsScott. Facebook is the Guilty Pleasure Cinema as well. And there's much more coming with Java Radio and Regular Seating and all that fun stuff. Zion Mainframe as well. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time.